Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast. We are the Gaming Stooges.
I'm Jack.
You can call me Cloud.
And I'm Landon.
We hope you enjoyed today's discussion, and if you do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on Twitch, or joining our Discord. Let's get on with the show.
It's the Super Mario Brothers 3, I think.
That's the three of us.
That's the three of us, clearly.
And this is our super show.
I'm actually
We're the Mario Brothers, and Pullman's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame.
So, we are here to talk about the 2D Mario games that have come out now that we've gone through... I think we've had enough time to let Super Mario Brothers Wonder Super Mario Wonder. It's not called Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I don't know why I keep calling it that.
Is it actually not Super Mario?
It's Super Mario Wonder.
Damn, okay.
Yep. You know, the more you know. So,
no, I'm seeing Super Mario Brothers Wonder on Wikipedia. I think it's that we keep accidentally calling it New Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Is it Super Mario Brothers Wonder?
Yeah, that's what Wikipedia is saying, and Google, and Nintendo, and the box art.
What does the box art say?
The box art says Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Oh, you're right. God damn it. We're already Mandela affecting Super Mario Brothers Wonder's title.
It's not even a year old.
Congratulations, Cloud. I hope you cut all of that.
Probably.
I hope so, too.
Okay.
I remember
We'll
I'm
see.
the one that's editing this one. We'll see.
We'll see.
So, now that we've got Super Mario Brothers Wonder Time to Simmer, we have about a dozen and some change games, including some that you might not really think about at first.
Ever.
Games
you would never, ever think about.
Games that no one thinks about.
We are trying to keep this, though, to just the games that are at least, connected to the 2D Mario games. But we're going to go through the actual, what is considered 2D Mario games first. Now, this order was kind of...
core series.
Core. Yes.
Large quotes around core. Here we go.
Small quotes around series.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into the first game of this set. We got Super Mario Brothers.
No
Wow.
preamble. No, leading questions like, what was your first Mario Brothers game?
We got a lot to get through.
That's fair.
I'm sure we can identify the game as we go along.
Yeah, we'll get to whichever one was our first when we get to it.
I was going to do the preamble, but then I got sidetracked by the Super Mario Wonder thing.
That was the preamble.
There you go.
So Super Mario Brothers originally was released in... so I'm going to be doing North American releases as per usual. And in this case, October 1985. There's no exact date. In fact, for quite a lot of games that came out back in the NES era, there's kind of a vagueness to the exact date for some of these.
It's a soft release as opposed to a hard release.
Right. It didn't launch all across the country. It was just kind of across, different regions.
Find it when you can find it.
Yeah. Find it when you can find it. But it sold 40 million copies on the Famicom/NES, which I'm going to be calling it the NES. It is the Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm not saying that every single time a game comes up that was on the NES. Just fair warning. But to be fair, quite a lot of those were pack-ins because Super Mario Brothers was packed in with the system for a while. I believe these numbers also include the 2-pack release for Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. So
I believe so.
Which is how a lot of people ended up getting this game. And on top of the Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt dual pack, we also had re-releases on the Game Boy Advance, the virtual consoles of the Wii, 3DS, and Wii U. It's also been included as part of the NES Classic Edition, Nintendo Switch Online's NES app. It was also included as part of Super Mario Bros. Deluxe on the Game Boy Color. There was a Game & Watch that included Super Mario Brothers on it. and it was also remade as part of Super Mario Brothers All-Stars. Now I'm putting brothers in the name of something that doesn't have it. Super Mario All-Stars. I'm going to fuck up names all night tonight. It's going to be great.
I can't wait.
I mean, Landon's sure as hell is excited for it. So Super Mario Brothers, I mean, that it's the first of the main Super Mario games. You got all of your core mechanics more or less here already. You got the run-in, the jump-in, the level design. You've got many iconic enemies. You've got Goombas, Koopas. You've got Piranha Plants. You've got Bowser, your main villain. This is actually his first appearance, and he would go on to be Mario's arch nemesis for the rest of time.
Don't forget the bane of everyone's existence in this particular game, Hammer Brothers.
Oh God, Hammer Brothers.
Quite possibly at their worst in this game.
I agree.
Than in any other game, because they're fucking hard to deal with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Super Mario Brothers has 32 main levels. You've got separated into 8 worlds, 4 levels each. There's a castle at the end of each of these worlds. I mean, it's classic stuff. This would basically be the formula for the entire series going forward. There'd be some number of worlds. Amount of levels can vary, here or there, but there's usually some sort of castle or castle equivalent at the end of a world that you then beat the boss, you move on to the next one. I would say the castles and the levels in this game are
They exist.
They exist.
I mean, it was the first game.
Yeah. I think it aged, I think at least control-wise and like what it gets done, it's still aged pretty well. Like I can still pick up and play it.
Yeah, I mean, like in the grand scheme of Mario games, it is, I mean, kind of unremarkable, but also it's the first one, so it's allowed to be a little simple.
So I want to ask when the first time that you played this game is, because it's kind of a big game. I don't know if it was your first one. It wasn't I don't know if it was my first one or not. So like,
it was not my first one. So
like, it was either Super Mario Brothers or it was Super Mario Brothers 3, because it was my uncle. He brought like the NES. He had all 3 of the first games. I know I didn't play 2 first, but I don't remember whether it was the first. It could be this one, but it could also be Super Mario Brothers 3. I wouldn't be surprised.
I do have vague memories of playing this game as a child, but literally I could not tell you when I first played it was. It's been so long, and it wasn't a game that I really like played a lot in my childhood. I don't think I would like play through the entire game until like I was probably 13 or 14.
Oh yeah, like we're talking about like the first time I played through like the whole thing, just about, that would be like it was on the 3DS, so whenever it came out on that, like that's I'm
well,
serious.
what about the LP?
Oh, you know what? The LP might have come first. So that would be it.
Yeah, the LP had to have come first.
Which is only slightly, to be honest. So like,
yeah. I guess it was like early 2010s either way.
Yeah, it was early 2010s either way. But
what about you, Landon?
I believe the first time I played Super Mario Brothers, the first one, was the deluxe release. I like borrowed someone's Game Boy and like was playing it on probably like a family trip.
Okay.
So I remember the level select screen.
Oh, okay.
But that would appear and stuff. So I believe that was the first iteration.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the first time I completed it, it was probably the 3DS release.
Okay, so I don't feel as embarrassed then, because that's
don't, because the game gets fairly challenging the further you get into it.
Yeah,
and it's some of it's just bullshit.
I'm gonna say some of those later levels, like 8-1, I think is like the most bullshit level of the entire game, in my opinion. That's the one that like actually really has hard emphasis of the Hammer Brother placement, and it's just that's a tough one. It's really tough
for sure.
Like Jack was mentioning how like Hammer Brothers are an iconic enemy in this game, especially like at their worst, and like that level
does it. I will say, for overall thoughts on the first Mario, Super Mario Brothers, that is, not the first Mario. But as far as Super Mario Brothers goes, it definitely is a game that released in the 1980s. But out of a lot of games that released during this era, it still is very functional.
Yeah.
And it is solid. It's definitely the bar that you could easily like compare a lot of these games that we're going to talk about like against.
Yes.
How well they do the formula.
It's a really good blueprint because it's pretty much the blueprint for most of the games on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
even the weird shit we're gonna get into, like this is the print to go against.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I mean, it is
like there's a lot of games that take heavy inspiration from like two particular games coming up later on, and it's pretty obvious which two those are. But I mean, all of them still stem back to this game in some form.
Yeah. So I would say it's a game that's still like fairly. It's very accessible, which is nice because it is like a game that anyone should be able to pick up and play, which is like, it's nice to always see it around, regardless if you want to play it or not.
So,
yeah.
Real quick roll call. Did you die to the first Goomba of this game on your first time playing it? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. I'm sure at some point that I did in my life. I made that mistake.
Because I definitely did that in at least either this game or Super Mario Brothers 3 first thing. So that first Goomba is probably one of the the enemy with like the most body counts, like the biggest body count of how many players has it killed. It's it's not like some like super extremely powerful super boss from some random game. No. The most lethal enemy in all of gaming is that first Goomba.
I will say, I played, like, when I first started college, a ROM hack version of Super Mario Brothers 1, where it was with Portal, and I always,
I remember
really
that.
enjoyed that.
Interesting. That's neat.
I remember
Mario with a portal gun.
I think it was called Mario, but the O was a 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It was fun. I remember playing that back in the day.
I don't know if I've played any like hacks of honestly any of the Mario games to be frank. I might have played a hack of Mario World at some point, but that's about it. Anything else we want to talk about when it comes to? Oh, you know what? I will say so. Like, I think that the overall structure for this game is pretty well rounded. I think it does a decent enough job of basically just pitching the blueprint, like Jack said. But I do have a few faults with this game. I think my major problem with this game is that the scrolling, it doesn't let you go backwards. So like when you continue along the pathway of any level,
yeah,
everything behind you just cannot go back.
Everything behind you is a point of no return.
It really is. And this is the only game that I know of, at least, that does this. Maybe Lost Levels, which is our next game we'll talk about. But I haven't played enough Lost Levels to remember. So spoiler alert for that one. Jack, did you have any final thoughts, though, on Super Mario Brothers for NES?
I mean, like, lack of personal experience aside, I mean, it's objectively one of the most influential video games ever made. You could make the argument that it's the most influential video game ever made. I mean, it's fucking Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it's fucking Mario Brothers.
No, it's Super Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers is a different game.
True.
It's fucking Super Mario Brothers.
It's super fucking Mario Brothers.
And Super Mario Brothers did so well that they decided to release a sequel, because that's usually what happens when something does well, they make another one. But in Japan, this sequel was really fucking hard, so we didn't get it originally. Originally released in North America, remade as part of Super Mario All-Stars on August 1st for Super Nintendo Entertainment System. From here on out, I will call that SNES. Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. It would have an originally released on the Famicom Disk System and sell about 2.5 million copies on that. And it has been released as part of Super Mario All-Stars, as already said. It was also re-released in its original form, although suffering from screen crunch, with Super Mario Bros. Deluxe on the Game Boy Color. You had the original release also on the Game & Watch, Super Mario Bros. Edition, Game & Watch for that. You can also play it on the Nintendo Switch Online NES. And it was also released on Virtual Console for Wii, 3DS, and Wii U. So, The Lost Levels. Oh boy. How much experience do we have with The Lost Levels?
Hey, Landon, remember when we played this?
You mean we booted the game up and I think died at the first obstacle and then turned the game off?
No, we played more than that. Wait.
We made it through like the first 2 levels, if that, and turned the game off?
Nah. I mean, I'm not misremembering. We definitely played this though, right?
We played it. We definitely did not beat it.
No, we didn't beat it. We definitely got like a decent chunk of the way in and just decided, fuck this.
I don't think we made it that far.
I feel like it was more than just 2 levels, but yeah, it sucks.
I was going to say, I definitely at most played 2 levels. I don't remember if I beat 1-1. I may have beaten 1-1 one time and then definitely quit by 1-2. There's no fucking way in hell I got far in this game.
It's hard.
It's not a necessarily bad game, but I'm a baby American and I can't play video games, so they should have just never released this.
Yeah, so there's a reason why we didn't get this game. It's balls hard. It is so fucking hard, and also it was extremely similar to the first game, visually and mechanically. So it was literally just like an expansion pack for the original Super Mario Brothers, for all intents and purposes. Yeah. It does have a lot more levels as well, because you don't have just worlds 1 through 8. You also have worlds 9, A, B, C, D, I think, and E.
Yeah, fuck that.
And those are all 4 levels each. All of them.
Yep. No, thank you.
That's a lot of levels for an NES game. And that's a lot of brutally fucking hard levels. I will never play that game to the extent of getting very far, as long as I live. So, but let's say one cool thing about the game real quick before we move on. It gave us the poison mushroom.
Wow, cool.
And by cool, I mean it's fucking bullshit. What kind of game? Who thinks of, hey, when the player does something, let's reward them by killing them? You know?
It really is the original Kaizo.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, the reason why people make bullshit ass Mario levels, ROM hacks and shit is because this game literally just exists and it was officially released by Nintendo. They were like, here you go. So let's just move past this traumatic experience that we call Lost Levels, and we're going to talk about Super Mario Brothers 2, baby!
We already did that. We literally just talked about Super Mario Brothers 2.
But we're talking about
Super Mario Brothers 2 USA.
Oh, baby edition. Got it.
So this originally was not a Super Mario Brothers game. I'm just going to get this out of the way. It's the same shit that like every content creator on YouTube says. It was originally called Doki Doki Panic, and they basically copied that game and put it in the Mario universe, and like kind of retooled it for the Mario universe, put Mario and the gang in the game, and then they added a few things here and there, called it a day. But it's the same game, so mechanically speaking, it's quite different. But let's just go over the cliff notes real quick. It was originally released in North America around September or October of 1988, again, soft launch on the NES. Sold 7.5 million copies roughly on the NES. It was re-released on the Virtual Console for the Wii, 3DS, and Wii U. It was included in the NES Classic Edition and the NES Nintendo Switch Online app. And it was also remade as part of Super Mario All-Stars and re-released on the Game Boy Advance as Super Mario Advance. This game's a little different. You get to play as not only Mario and Luigi, but you can also play as Peach, or Princess Toadstool, and Toad. And they actually play slightly differently based on who you pick. Some of them are a little faster or slower. Some of them can jump higher or a little bit. Peach has a float. Toad is really good at picking up stuff because in this game, you get to pick up things. You guys like to pick up things? Whoop. It's more...
I have a bad back. I shouldn't be picking up anything.
That's okay, because they bend with their knees and not their back.
I have bad knees. I shouldn't be picking up anything.
Well, with your bad knees, you shouldn't be picking up any girls.
But yeah, you get to pick stuff up, you throw it around. There's mechanics of like finding doors, and you can like also like pick up like special items sometimes that like give you power-ups and stuff like that. So it's very weird. It's definitely, I mean, they retconned this game to be like, it was like a dream sequence, so it isn't, so the like plot wise it's technically not canon to the Mario timeline, but who cares? It's Super Mario Brothers 2, baby.
It has Shy Guys in it.
Do you guys remember the first time you played this game? I did play it on the NES. I have never beaten this game. I did a stream. I got to the very last level. And I kept dying. And I got frustrated and I didn't finish. That was cool.
You refused to use save states, so
I didn't want to. Right.
That's on you.
I don't like using save states when I'm like showing the gameplay to someone else, because then I feel like a dumbass and an idiot and like, I don't know. I don't like doing that.
Here's my rebuttal. Fuck that. Just use save states. God invented save states for bullshit games.
Honestly, I used to be of the opinion that save states were like a cheap way to like advance the game when you're not good enough. But I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm an adult. I got other shit to do. It's either save states or I quit the game.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like I think save states are valid. And
yeah.
I don't shun people who use them. As long as you're not, like, abusing them. But, you know, some instances...
Even then, it's like, if you're playing a game and it has save states, then you're playing by yourself. So at the end of the day, as long as you feel fine with it, does it really matter?
Yeah.
So, that's my philosophy. I actually been using save states a little bit more frequently. There's, like, a save state feature for... something I'll talk about later if we have time after the end of this podcast. So yeah, Landon, any experience? Do you remember your first experience or so with Super Mario Brothers 2, baby?
It was probably the Wii Virtual Console release, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, that would check out.
I played a bit of it.
I believe that was it for me as well.
Yeah, it's fun for what it is.
Yeah,
it's different, which is fine, but It's not a bad game.
No, I mean, it's not one that I go back to very much. And honestly, one thing that this game introduced that I think not enough 2D Mario games do, it introduced multiple playable characters with different, like, physical attributes to them. Like, they all play slightly differently. And that's something that, like, not enough 2D Mario games do. Like, even the ones that have multiple characters to choose from, they all play the same. So it doesn't really, like, you know, it's...
For the most part, yeah. So, I mean, you'll usually
like,
you'll usually still have Luigi at least retain a flutter jump, but that's about it. You might see, like... But I think the only time they really emphasized the differences was in it's not a 2D game, we're not going to be talking about it. It's a Super Mario 3D World.
3D World was definitely, like, the biggest, like, these characters are all actually kind of different.
Yeah.
And that's been it. Otherwise, you have, like Nabbit, who is, like, just invincible. Or you have, like, in Wonder, the Yoshis play different from like the core cast.
Right.
So like
Mhm.
that's really been,
But
I feel like it.
Yeah, but it's less to like differentiate them and have like a niche. It's more to like adjust difficulty. So like the intention of how they do it is different.
Very different.
I'm actually kind of surprised. I think I have the most experience with this game out of the three of us then, because I have played it on NES. I played a friend's copy, and I did use warps, but I got very, very far in the game. Like I was pretty much near the end, and then I picked up the game a second time for on the 3DS, and then I picked up the remake a second time recently to do the stream. So like I've played it 4 times.
In conclusion, Game of the Year, Super Mario Bros. 2.
Right.
Every year.
Thank you, Donkey.
Let's move on to the next
You're
game.
welcome.
I can't believe we got Video Game Donkey on the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast.
Hey guys, it's me, Video Game Donkey, spaghetti and meatballs and all that.
Yep, that's his catchphrase.
Yep.
Spaghetti and meatballs and all that.
So we got Super Mario Bros. 3 is the next game we're going to talk about. It was originally released in North America on February 12th, 1990 for NES and sold 18 million copies. It's quite a lot of copies, especially considering this came out mega fucking late in the NES's lifespan. It was re-released on the Virtual Console, including... it was also included on the NES Classic Edition. When I say Virtual Console, I mean all 3. It's been if I don't specifically say going forward, virtual which systems on Virtual Console, just assume I mean all 3 of them. There's only a few more games this is going to apply to, actually, I think. But it was also NES Classic Edition, Nintendo Switch Online. It was remade as part of Super Mario All-Stars. That was also re-released on Game Boy Advance as Super Mario Advance 4. And not only was that on the Game Boy Advance, that was also re-released on the Wii U Virtual Console and the Nintendo Switch Online GBA app, Game Boy Advance app. That comes with the expansion pass, so that's not the base Nintendo Switch Online. But I digress. Interestingly, those 2 re-releases actually include the e-reader levels, which is pretty cool. The remake of this game had e-reader levels, and you want to boot up a version that has like the complete package, you can go and play it on the expansion pass Nintendo Switch Online app right now if you want to.
It's true.
But yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3. This introduced the idea of an actual like world map that you can kind of interact with. Usually it comes in the form of just like straight pathways that you can move around, and there's usually like some little points of interest on these maps. It depends on the game that we're talking about, but for Super Mario Bros. 3, you had these little mushroom houses where you could go get power-ups. There's a lot of unique power-ups in this game. Mario games usually have some variety of power-ups. Some games have less, some games have more. Mario Bros. 3 has a lot. Like, we got to go over them real quick. You had your Super Mushroom, Fire Flower, Star from the first couple games, but you also had the Super Leaf, which turns you into Raccoon Mario, and the similar Tanuki suit, which turns you into Tanuki Mario. They're both roughly the same, but you have the ability to turn into a statue for one of them, and both of them have the ability to fly for a short time if you build up a running start, because Mario games you usually can reach some sort of max speed where you control a little bit differently. You kind of like glide around if you can platform well that way. Well, in Mario 3, they built off of that, and they have like a P meter, which represents your speed. P.
Piss. It's the piss meter.
And it controls your ability to fly when you're one of the applicable power-ups that can do that. Speaking of fly, you've got the P-Wing, which just grants you infinite P. That sounds really weird, but that's really how it works. You get
infinite piss.
You get infinite P, so you can fly as much as you want. There's the Hammer Brothers suit, or the Hammer suit, so you can chuck hammers. You get like a little shell that if you duck, you can like deflect, project some certain attack, mostly projectile-based stuff that happens. You've also got the Frog suit, so you can swim better in underwater levels or in water levels, but you also hop around and cannot build up pee speed. You can't build up pee. No pee when you're a frog. No pissing.
Frogs piss through their skin, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that
every time he takes a hop, he pisses a little.
Yeah, he has to piss in order to hop.
I think that covers the power-ups that you can do in the levels, but there's also items that you can use on the world map that you can also stock. You've got a warp whistle that can be used to whisk you away to the warp world, which lets you just jump ahead in the game. There's a couple different paths you can end up on, so you can, depending on what world you're in, you can skip to different worlds that way. There's also, I think, Locky 2 Cloud that basically lets you skip over a level, and if you can beat the level that you skip to, then basically you don't even have to go back and do that other level. You can just fucking skip it. And there's also like a jukebox that you can get that can turn enemies that are on the map to sleep, because there's some like little like basically like battle stages that are like quick stages that you have to dispatch a specific enemy, usually some form of brothers enemy, like Hammer Brothers or Fireball Brothers or stuff like that. So you've got a variety of stuff that this game has. There's a bunch of other little things like the little mini game with the cards, so you can like do the matching and you can get all these power-ups and bonuses. There's like a little slot reel, so you could try to line up a picture based on 3 segments and get a bunch of extra lives that way. And these things are like in like so many different games in some form. So just lots and lots of shit introduced in Super Mario Bros. 3. Do you guys remember the first time you played this game?
I do, actually. This was the first 2D Mario game I ever owned. And by that, I mean specifically Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3 for the GBA. And this was a big childhood game for me. I love Super Mario Bros. 3. It's not my favorite, but it is one that I have a ton of experience with, and I was really bad at it for when I was a kid. Like, I play that game now and I'm like, damn, I fucking sucked ass at Mario games when I was a kid. But yeah, I know. I mean, just the sheer amount of stuff that this game brought to the table, like whether it be power-ups or like level aesthetics or enemies or boss characters or whatever, it adds so much to the original game, the original game's formula. I mean, it's one of the best in the series, or it's regarded as one of the best in the series for a reason.
Yeah, I think because of all of the things that it added, it also just kind of created a ripple effect of other things that would connect to the things they added. Like, this game is known for having a ton of secrets, and those secrets allow you to occasionally do stuff with the world maps, which again, first for the series. Oh god, there's just so much. Like, you get there's like a secret like coin ship that you can unlock. So like if you like beat a level with like a specific time or score left over, like you'll just unlock this special like ship that's just full of fucking coins on the world map, and you go chase it down and you jump in. You're literally like on a little airship, which airships are also a first for in this game, which would be used many times across the series. And there's just a boatload of coins on them, and a lot of later games would have some like sort of really cool secret that just rewards you with a crap ton of stuff just for doing it. So this was my the first Mario game I actually have memories of playing. So that's why I think it might be my first Mario game, but it might not be. But it's definitely the first one I have a lot of memories of playing. I got really good at this game. This was the first game I got good at, and I was like 7 or so. I was definitely 5 or 6 when I first picked it up, but like I would keep going back to this game when we had an NES, and I would play it. I remember like I was definitely single digits years old, and I actually was good enough at this game that I had like 50 some odd lives in World 5. I didn't beat the game though, because I lost all of them on World 8 at one point. That was really cool.
Hell yeah.
I didn't beat the game when I was a kid. I would come back to it on the Game Boy Advance, and that's when I would beat the game for the first time, and I 100% the game. I still have that file from 20 years ago to this day. I wouldn't. I think it took me a few years though, because I first got the Super Mario Brothers 4 or Super Mario Advance 4 rather, Super Mario Brothers 3. I believe it was like one of the first games I got after I got a Game Boy Advance SP. So I upgraded to the SP and then I got this game. And I remember just playing the hell out of it. And it was one of like the most defining games I had played all the way start to finish. Before the DS, I would get a DS a few years later. So it was like a huge game for me. It's no surprise this game in some form is my favorite Nintendo game, my favorite Mario game, iconic game for me. What about
Landon?
you, Landon?
I hate this game. This game sucks.
We've played through this game together a couple times.
We did. I think the first time I played this game was probably the Game Boy Advance release. I don't know. I never owned it, but I vaguely remember playing the Game Boy Advance release for both this and World. But I believe the actual like first time I owned a copy was the Wii Virtual Console version. And then I think the first time I really actually played the game was when Jack and I streamed it.
Okay.
It's aggressively fine. Whatever.
Landon's feelings on like on 2D Mario games is gonna line up similar to how he feels about like Sonic games, where like he thinks that the ones that like most people like tout as like the best ones ever are like fine, but the handheld underrated titles are gonna be his favorites. Just you wait. Speaking of which, we got one more title before we get to some of those. So let's get through this next one really quick. We got Super Mario World. This one was originally released in North America on August 18th, 1991 for the SNES, Super Nintendo. It was...
Question, are we talking about World first? Because you have Land on the list, or Landon has Land on the list before World.
Yes.
He swapped it.
Okay.
Yes, we did. I forgot to mention, we talked about like the ordering after he posted that. And there's a couple that we switch around for reasons.
Okay.
But Super Mario World sold 20.5 million units roughly on the SNES. It was also, I believe, that was a launch title for the Super Nintendo. So, I mean, iconic title, re-released as part of Super Mario All-Stars and Super Mario World. You had Super Mario All-Stars that came out after Super Mario World. And then they would re-release Super Mario All-Stars like the following year with Super Mario World included, which was pretty cool. It was on Virtual Console, but for the 3DS, it was only for the new 3DS units, because only the new 3DS units have access to Super Nintendo games. It was also on the SNES Classic. You can play it on Nintendo Switch Online SNES. It actually has what is called an SP release of the Super Nintendo original, which is interesting.
Super piss.
Super piss.
Super piss.
Super.
And it was also
Super
released on
piss.
Game Boy Advance as Super Mario Advance 2, and that was also re-released on the Wii U Virtual Console and the Game Boy Advance Nintendo Switch Online. So, you have a lot of ways to play this fucking game. Probably one of the most hacked games of all time.
It's either this or Pokemon Fire Red. But like
It
it's
really is.
It really is like, name a game with more ROM hacks. I can't think of one
Besides Pokemon Fire Red.
besides Pokemon Fire Red, but like those are the two.
It really is, yeah. Super Mario World, though, is super iconic. It is the first game in the series to have a... So how Super Mario 3 had its worlds, they were separate world maps that were not connected to each other. There was just a separate world map for each world. Super Mario World was actually the first game to like have a cohesive world map that's like tied together with everything. And not as many Mario games would do this in the future, but there's still a few that do that go this route. And you also have iconic introductions for this franchise, such as Yoshi and the feather that gives you the cape power up. You can also blow up into a balloon for like a couple of levels.
And one of those levels is one of the hardest levels in the entire game.
Yep. And there's also the introduction of the boo houses. So like the spooky house level, like it's basically like a cornerstone that's added in like a bunch of Mario games going forward. This is the first game to do that sort of thing. Oh my god, I had something else off the top of my head that was like a big like first for the series with this game that I'm trying to remember, and it already left my thought process. Oh well, I'm sure it'll come up in the conversation. But yeah, first time playing this game. You guys remember the first time you played Mario World?
Was it Super Mario Advance 2
Super
that was
Mario Advance 2.
World?
Yeah.
Yeah, I owned that at a certain point. I got it after Mario Advance 4, but I did own that as a child as well. And so not as early, but like this was also a childhood game for me, and this one is my favorite 2D Mario game. I love it. I think I mean we can get into, I don't know if you wanted to talk about more of the details of this game, but like
No, go ahead.
I don't know. I love everything about this game. I think the world map is really sick. How it all like ties together like seamlessly. How it's fucking shaped like the United States or not the United States, but just the entire world for some reason. Just like if you like zoom out and like look at all the worlds in this game, it's just a map of the world basically. It's got a ton of like great levels. I love all of the worlds. There's some like really interesting level design choices that they go for in this one, like some very like, I don't want to say non-linear, but like some of the worlds can be pretty non-linear. I mean, like you played today, Cloud, the fucking Forest of Illusion, where you kind of have to go through an alternate exit in order to find the path out of the world. And like I can understand that being like frustrating for someone playing it for the first time, but like I think it's a really neat idea, especially given like the gimmick of the world being just like illusion, and you know it's meant to fuck with you. I like how all the worlds are named after foods for some reason.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but it just adds to the charm. You got a bunch of crazy different enemies. You got dinosaurs and shit. I mean, like you said, Yoshi is introduced in this game.
Oh, the spin jump. That's what I was thinking about.
The spin jump.
That's
true.
That's the thing that you can do.
Like a huge addition to this game,
and
honestly.
I was going to say they make heavy use of it in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, like I love the soundtrack in this game is fucking fantastic, and literally every song just uses the same melody over and over again.
Yeah, it's the same like leitmotif, and they managed to just like mash it up.
I love it because it's literally the same song, but they just remix it depending on the mood or the situation, and it's amazing. I don't know. I love this game. I could nitpick some things about it. Like I wish there were more like secret areas available, or that it was like easier to get like power-ups back, but like I mean aside from that, it's a timeless, honestly.
So I'll say my first time playing this game was on the SNES when I had my own SNES. Originally, I didn't get very far because, as Jack was alluding to, I got stuck in the Forest of Illusion. God fucking damn that world. Like, it's not, like, hard. It's just, like...
It's confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing, and, like, when you're a kid playing a video game where, like, typically you just progress through the game normally, and if you do good, then you eventually can beat the game, right? Wrong. That's not how this game works, because you have to find and go out of your way what is usually optional stuff in order to actually beat the main game because of how they structure that world. Now, I don't really have a vendetta against that, though. In fact, this game actually, I kind of disagree with one thing you said. Well, I mean, actually, it's not really disagreements, since you said it was more like a wish that you had. But I find this game actually has more secrets than a lot of Mario games do.
Oh, no, there are a ton of secrets. I'm talking specifically like the super secret areas where it's basically just like you get a free power-up if you visit it.
Oh, okay.
Like there's a shitload of secrets in this game, like more than enough, honestly.
Yeah,
like there are so many like alternate, like a good way to know on the world map, if you enter a level and it has a small dot, that means it has one exit. If it's a big dot, multiple exits.
What's the difference between the ones that are yellow and red? Because there's some that are just regular yellow, and then there's like others that like flash red.
Are they all the same size, or am I misremembering and it's actually color and not size?
No, there's both.
Okay.
So like you were right about the size one.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't remember. It's honestly, I think the last time I played this game was when Landon and I played it together. So it's been a little bit, so I do not exactly remember, if I'm being honest.
Like this game has a lot of weird intricacies.
There's like so many like crazy details in this game that they just like don't tell you about. It's just like, hey, go here, figure it out, have fun.
Landon, do you remember the first time that you played this game?
I think, like I said, for Super Mario Bros. 3, it was the Game Boy Advance release. I played a bit of it on that, and then it was once again probably the Wii Virtual Console was like the first time I'd actually really played the game and got any amount in past World 1.
Oh wow! I'll say I find it interesting the early games.
I did not have access to an NES or a Super Nintendo growing up.
Okay.
So it is not surprising at all when you think about it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just if you don't have those systems, you just don't really have access to some of these games. Not that I didn't play them, but if I don't have regular access to something, then it's I don't even think about this. Yeah, I think this game is okay-ish at best. It's fine, whatever. Game's trash.
So it's probably not surprising that Landon said stuff like that, but I'm gonna say that I'm torn on this game. There's aspects of it that I think are really cool. Like Jack said, there's a lot of different secrets to discover, and that makes this game really interesting to go out of your way and find those secrets. I think it controls pretty damn good. I don't like the fact that there's not as many power-ups as in Mario 3 because I'm a sucker for the huge variety of power-ups you have in that game. But I do like the what you have at least. You do have quite a few options between Yoshi, the cape, the fire flower. They do give you one reserve slot, and unlike in Super Mario 3 where you got a bunch of slots that you could use, but you could only use those items on the world map before going into a level. Here you can actually access that power up, that the one reserve slot you have at any time in a level, so you can actually just get the extra power up that you need right then and there. That's actually something that quite a few Mario games after would use, so that's a very iconic thing. I like that. I originally didn't care for it, but the fact that you can use that in a level I do think is actually really cool. And I like Yoshi, he's cool. I like the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack is really fun, but I don't particularly like some of the level designs. I do find this game quite hard, and I don't mind that, but there's just some really, really tricky, and it's no wonder that people hacked this game and did what they call Kaizo and just take the difficulty and just shoot it into the stratosphere, just fucking jettison the difficulty into the sun and just make these balls hard levels, because they have so many weird design levels in the base game as it is, and there's so many different weird things going on. There's so many levels that have a unique gimmick that just never happens again in the rest of the game. Or if they do use it, that's so heavily remixed that you can't even tell it's the same level. I think that's one of this game's strengths, but it's not something I particularly like with the execution. So I don't know, man. This game's good, but it's also just super frustrating to me because it doesn't have there's just something I like in platformers where the game kind of conditions you into how it wants to function and how it wants to present itself to you. And I feel Super Mario World, for better or worse, will just kind of throw that expectation out the window. You have the controls, And that's about it. Like when it comes to like level design, it's unconventional. It holds up really well, but I don't like it sometimes. I'll say that much. So that's my feelings on Super Mario World. Probably pretty controversial, but that's just how I feel.
I mean, I'm the only one of the three of us that is really singing its praises to the degree that I am. So not that controversial, at least among the three of us.
Yeah, at least among the three of us. But I think the wider community usually like sings the praises of Super Mario World to a very high degree. They're more in line with you than I think they are with me or Landon, to be fair. So
I love this game.
Yeah. Did you want to give any last words of defense for this game before we move on, Jack?
I've said what I needed.
You said what you needed? Okay. So there's 2 games that came out for the Game Boy. Mario being a successful franchise, they had to put it on their portable system so that you could have some, successful and tried and true games on there. And the first one of those would be called Super Mario Land. And it was launched at the launch of the Game Boy. So you had, in North America, this was July 31st, 1989. And it sold over 18 million units on the Game Boys, roughly the same amount as Super Mario 3 did on the NES. It was also re-released on the Virtual Console for the 3DS, and you can also play it on the Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy app. So this one didn't get a whole lot of re-releases. Landon played this game for the channel.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't believe you.
I have proof.
You played both Super Mario Land games.
Huh. I don't remember any of
You
that.
can go on youtube.com/GamingStooges and watch our Let's Play.
Oh, okay. Then I will believe that.
Cool.
I guess this is where I talk about the game.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I think Super Mario Land, I personally am more willing to play Super Mario Land 1 than I am World or 3 because it is shorter and easier. And I'm a baby American.
I like that you're committing to the bit tonight.
You really called it, Cloud.
Told you. I mean, So what was the first time you guys played Super Mario Land? Do you remember?
This isn't one that the Game Boy, the original Game Boy was before my time, so I wouldn't play this one until like probably 3DS Virtual Console, if I had to guess. I don't know. It took me a while before I touched this one, honestly.
I actually had this game on the Game Boy. Because I had a Game Boy Color, so I had a bunch of games that were both just Game Boy games. There were some that were just Game Boy Color. But Mario Land was one that I had. I don't remember if I owned it permanently or if I was borrowing it long-term from a classmate for a while. Or I might have done a trade for it, to be honest. But I do remember playing it way back. I didn't get too far, although this game is, as Landon said, it's very short. It doesn't have a whole lot of levels. It's actually even shorter than the first Super Mario Brothers game.
It's like 4 worlds.
That's 4 worlds. So
Yeah.
it's
also the real reason why Landon likes this game is because this is the game that introduces Daisy.
It is.
Don't spoil it.
Daisy is in this game.
She debuts in this game.
Yep.
Even if she looks nothing like what she does now because Game Boy limitations.
Also, I like how because of the limitations of the hardware and because they didn't know how to make like really nice sprites until later on in the system's lifespan, instead of having the fire power up in this game, you got to shoot balls. You threw balls at stuff instead of...
You have the ball power up.
Yep. Len, how do you feel about shooting balls in Super Mario Land?
I love shooting balls. That shit sucks ass. It just bounces for a little bit and then it disappears and you can't hit anything with it. It's a beautiful power up.
Love it.
It's better than the suite of power-ups that's available in New Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo DS.
Damn. Well, we'll talk about that one later. But yeah, Super Mario Land, it's short, it's fun, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't think it's definitely not the best Mario game. Especially because we're going to talk about a game that does everything this game did 1,000 times better, by just simply like being an iteration on the Mario design for Game Boy. But I think it is fun. Yes, Super Mario Brothers 3 and World are much better games. It's just a personal, I just rather would. This is a game that can easily be picked up and played. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the better game, though, among the two. We had Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins. That was originally released in North America on November 1st, 1992 for the Game Boy, and it sold over 11 million units, so sold pretty well. It would also be re-released on the 3DS Virtual Console and on the Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy app. Now, I will say, my first time playing Super Mario Land 2 was not until the Nintendo Switch Online. Or not Nintendo Switch Online, sorry. The 3DS Virtual Console. I never touched this game as a kid.
I didn't either.
So it was my first time playing on the 3DS. Now, we did do a Let's Play. Unfortunately, the person who Let's Played it had to get up for something. But Landon did play Super Mario Land 6 Golden Coins for our channel. So, Landon, did you want to tell us about the Let's Play for Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins? Go watch it?
Go watch it. I mean, or don't. I don't know. I don't think it holds up, probably. Actually, that was one of our later ones, so it probably doesn't hold up at all. I like this one. I actually really like. We've talked about this game before. We've done platformer rankings and Mario game rankings, and this one I feel like it is a legitimately solid Mario game, and that's despite being a Game Boy, just a Game Boy game. It has very fun world aesthetics.
Yeah, tell us
different.
about the world variety, because it's really interesting.
You go to space,
there's a space zone.
There's a space zone.
There's a zone that's modeled after Mario himself.
Yeah, there's Mario Zone.
Just Mario Zone.
You could even call it the Super Mario World.
Yeah. There's a toy. I think it might be tied in together. It's the toy world. There's a haunted graveyard area that you go to. Yeah, there's a cool variety that sometimes you get to see, but I feel like this one was even more different than its contemporary console versions 3 in World. So it does a lot of stuff while also being easier and shorter than 3 in World, and that's all I care about. Is I'm a big baby.
So I will say I want to
biggest baby.
I want to go back to finish this game. I got really far in it. I don't remember exactly how far, but I think this game is extremely underrated. When people talk about Mario games, almost nobody fucking talks about Super Mario Land 2. And yet this game, I actually think I like this game more than Super Mario World, if I'm being completely honest. I actually really fuck with this game.
Who are you, Landon?
yeah. Super Mario Land 2 is probably up there for me when it comes to 2D Mario games. It's not as high. It might not be as high as where Landon might put it, but I think this game is super underrated. I think the level design is really good. I think that they mastered the fact that they're working with a small screen and limited color palette, and they managed to just make one of the best games for what it was on. I never feel like this game is suffering from being on the hardware that it is. They had all of that planned out. The levels are designed so you don't have these blind leap of faiths most of the time, and just the power-ups and everything are made to work with the confines.
See, and that's sort of Mario Land was, can we take Super Mario Brothers and put it on the Game Boy? That's really just what it is. It's not the same game. It is not Super Mario Brothers. It is a separate game with different like level design and everything.
Right.
But it's just them being like, yes, we can put Mario on the Game Boy.
Right.
And cool. This is, can we make a Game Boy Mario game? Which is a different question.
Yes, different question. Can we put Mario on the Game Boy, or can we make a Game Boy Mario game?
Yeah, and this definitely, like, yes, they can, and it was great.
It was great. So
I legitimately enjoy this game a lot.
Yeah. So if you haven't played if you haven't played Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, and you like Mario, you should do yourself a favor and do it. It's great. Jack,
it's very short.
Jack,
it's
what's
not nearly as short as Land 1, but it's.
I think for a Game Boy game, there's a healthy amount of content, though.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a healthy amount of there's quite a few levels in every zone, and there's quite a few zones. So
and there's some like secrets and stuff in it. It's not secret heavy like 3 and World are, but
it's got a few things here and there.
It's got some stuff to it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
So yeah,
and Wario's in it.
Wario is in it. This is his debut, and he is.
Now here's where I enter.
Here's where you enter.
My boy Wario was introduced in this game. I'm pretty sure you were about to ask me what my experiences were with this game.
Nope.
To answer, you can if you want, honestly.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't really have much to say. It's a good game. It is a really good game. I just haven't played it a ton. I have played through it one time, I think, via Virtual Console. So that's about it.
Well, pull out your 3DS and play it for the rest of this podcast.
Okay. I don't have my 3DS on me, actually.
What the fuck is... mine's in the other room, too.
Actually, my 3DS is over there, so I'd have to...
Ooh. Go ahead.
That's too far. No, I'll pull out my DS and play Professor Layton in the Curious Village instead.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about one more game before we do a quick break, because this is a pretty good transition game. We wouldn't get another core 2D Mario title for almost a decade and a half. Like, it was 14 years. Literally, Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins was the last core 2D Mario game, although more on that later. We'll get to it. And we wouldn't see another one starring Mario until New Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo DS, which was released originally in North America on May 15th, 2006. This game was heavily advertised alongside the new released Nintendo DS Lite models. It would sell 30.8 million units on the console, and it would see a re-release on the Wii U Virtual Console because the Wii U Virtual Console had DS games. Yes, so New Super Mario Bros. First impressions with the game. When did you first play?
Yes,
this guy.
Man with the hat in the audience.
Yeah. He's holding his hand up.
Hi. I bought this game on launch day.
Okay.
I think it was launch day anyway. It was really, really close to release because I do remember it was definitely May of 2006 when I bought it. I had either just finished the school year or I was like very close to finishing the school year. I remember because I got it for... my mom bought it for me because she would back when I was a kid, she would buy me a video game if I got good grades. So I'm like, hell yeah, brother, hook me up with New Super Mario Brothers. And that was pretty much the game I played that summer. It was good. I remember liking it a lot at the time, but with a more broad example of what makes a good 2D Mario game in retrospect, it's fine. It's a 2D Mario game on the Nintendo DS. It's cool. Cloud, you can talk a little bit more about it if you want to.
I was going to say, so my first time playing this game was also not, so I wouldn't get a DS until the year after this game came out. I got it in 2007, literally just in time for Pokemon to come out, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Later that year, I would get New Super Mario Bros. DS. And I would play the hell out of it. I beat the game. I was doing a lot of unlocking of all of the bonus levels because there's a bunch of bonus stuff in this game. I don't think quite as much as World, but definitely quite a lot of extra secret content that you can unlock. So this game has an an interesting variety of power-ups. So you have the return of the Super Mushroom, Fire Flower, the Star, but you also had the Mega Mushroom. That was the like big advertised thing that you could unlock, where he just grows gigantic and he can just ram through most of a level just by walking, and you can fill up a meter and you can get a bunch of extra lives and stuff for that. So that's pretty cool. But you'd also had the mini mushroom, where you literally just become like microscopic and you can fit into tiny little holes in the levels. And you also have like a floatier jump and could run across water because of how small and light you are. So that was a pretty cool power up. And then there was also a blue shell that Mario would like get inside of. And then if you run and get enough of a momentum, he'll just start spinning in the shell rather than running. So, and that can allow you to like ricochet off of stuff and like reach areas that you might not be able to reach otherwise. It also allows you to attack while just having momentum. So it's pretty interesting, the amount of power-ups that you have access to. They make heavy use of unlocking extra areas with the mini mushroom in particular. Bowser Jr. is the main antagonist of this game for the most part. He's not the final antagonist, but he's the main one, and because of that you'll see a lot of weird like boss fights that like Bowser Jr. is like messing with you through, like, and the level design and for the most part is very like pretty like by the numbers plain. You would, except for when they like incorporate stuff like the mini mushroom, I think like a lot of it is very standard Mario fare. But at the same time, I do just think this game just does a good job with it. Like it is very fine, good, but like it's so well executed that it's like it's hard for me to explain. It's like to do something aggressively fine, but do aggressively fine extremely well. I don't know how that makes any sense. But
no, like, I totally get what you mean, and that I feel like perfectly describes this game. It's very competently made.
Yes, that's
level design.
I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Like level design wise, this game is like, it's a well put together game. Does it do anything in particular especially well? No,
in
not
fact,
a single thing.
In fact, unlike Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World, which do have some faults, there are some levels in both of them that are kind of stupid. Like there's memorable things in Mario World and 3. I don't really remember Super Mario, like moments in Super Mario Brothers DS all that well. I mean, I remember liking the levels. Nothing stuck out.
I remember the world maps more than I remember the levels themselves.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I think it's telling that, or not, I don't know if I would say telling, but like you said, the Mega Mushroom was like the big thing they were advertising for this game. Like, you know, this is like the big new power up for our big new game, and it's big.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of an auto win button, and it only shows up like a handful of times throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
Like, it's no different than the fucking Triple Deluxe power from Kirby Triple Deluxe. Although that game would come out later. But,
and I mean, Triple Deluxe would make a slightly heavier use of the Hypernova, at least.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for calling it what it actually is instead of just the Triple Deluxe like I did. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the coolest thing this game introduced is the Koopa Shell power-up, which is actually sick, and I do like it a lot. But I think the best way that I can describe this game, you know how like in Mario sports games, how Mario is always like a jack of all trades but a master of none?
Yeah.
That's what this game is. Like, it does everything competently, but not exceptionally.
Yeah.
It's like the epitome of a 6 out of 10 Mario game.
Yeah. I mean, that said, like, I still, because of how solid it is, I still like this game quite a lot. In fact,
yeah, no,
like,
I mean, I like this game
like,
too.
Like, even compared to like the grand list of like 2D Super Mario games, I still like it quite a bit. It's just, yeah, it's like, it's fine. But it would end up having a style that would be used for quite a lot of games moving forward. But with that, let's just take a quick break before we get to those. So Landon, Jack, if you guys would like to go off and get something.
I have to pee.
You guys can go ahead and do that. Let's talk about our social media. We've got a Patreon, patreon.com/GamingStooges. You can Go there and donate $3 or $6 a month to be a silver or gold stooge. And $3 tier, you've got access to our polls, so you can help decide the content that we make in the future. We also... This usually involves streams, but it also is podcast ideas. It's also like just other topics that we can do. But if you get the $6 tier, not only do you get that, but you get a special shout out every month. And we've got a shout out for Pixel Vixen. Obviously, she's been supporting us at the Gold Stooge tier basically forever. So thank you specifically to Pixel. And she also has access to a bunch of unique exclusive content that is only on Patreon. We have tabletop games where we do role-playing stuff like Pathfinder. We did a few different sessions of Delta Green. We have one going on right now, actually, for that. We have a bunch of tier lists, and we have a bunch of other cool stuff. Our very first exclusive content was like us showing off like aspects of our game collection. So, I mean, there's a bunch of really interesting things actually at this point on our Patreon. If you want to check out exclusive stuff, we've got a Twitch. We are doing a bunch of streams right now. Namely, Jack is doing Night in the Woods. We're getting ready to gear up for Spookfest. As the time of this podcast, we're at the end of September, so we're going into October. So we got some spooky stuff in store for that. And yeah, so we got Landon back. I saw you with some Tillamook.
I have the same French vanilla container that I've had for the last 18 months.
The same one.
It was either this or the same Huckleberry.
Is it time to shill?
17 months. So
Is it time to shill
yeah, you can shill
for Tillamook?
Shill Tillamook.
Tillamook Creamery. It's based in Oregon. They have a tagline on here somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. Tastes better because it's made right. Made with more cream than the other guys. Our ice cream is smooth, rich, and extra creamy.
That's a dumb catchphrase. They should make it something better, like cold, hard, refreshing.
Mike's hard.
I think that one's taken.
Mike's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like that. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but I don't have an actual Tillamook product. I just have a beer koozie holding my Coors Banquet.
I think this is a better catchphrase. Keep frozen.
Keep frozen.
Good catchphrase.
Keep frozen.
But what about the cheeses, Landon?
Keep frozen.
All right, so let's move on because we've still got a lot to talk about. Our next game is...
Wait, hold on. Before you move on, you didn't really give Landon an opportunity to talk about New Super Mario Brothers.
I had 0 words that were allowed to be said about the game.
Do you have anything to say about the game before we move on? Because I know you think this game is aggressively bad.
Oh, I have words. First,
I was going to say,
reiterate...
to be fair, you were starting to talk about it in other entries, so you must have a lot on your mind.
The words I will start this are the words of people who have said things about this game in the past. Competently made, aggressively fine, a game. These are all words that, dare I say, idiots would use to describe this game.
Wow. So
this game smells bad. It plays bad. It's awful.
You don't believe it's a game.
It's not even a fucking video.
If it's not a video game, what is it?
A waste of time. That's what it is.
Hey.
I played this game when it first came out. I didn't even get to say when I played this game first. Like that's how much Cloud was like, I want to avoid Landon talking as much on this podcast as possible. Because if there's one game for this whole podcast, he's going to
for New Super Mario Brothers, I just wanted to follow the tradition of skipping over you.
You know what? Fair. Okay, so I played this game when it first came out, and according to a save file I had on my copy of the game, I got all the way to World 8, and I guess I beat the game. I didn't remember a thing about that, because when I restarted the game, I was like, that doesn't seem right. I feel like I would have quit partway through because of how much I did not care for this game when it first came out. And so I started replaying this game this year in preparation for this podcast, just to, maybe I was wrong. And, I played World 1 and World 2, and I was like, you know what, maybe I was wrong. This is pretty decent. And then I got into World 3, and then I unlocked the secret world, World 4, because World 4 and 6
Are optional.
are optional.
For some reason.
Completely optional worlds. You have to be Mini Mario, and you have to kill the boss as Mini Mario in order to unlock Worlds 4 and 6. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and at that point, I was like, oh, no, I actually don't like this game still. This game, I don't get any enjoyment out of it. The power-ups, the new power-ups especially, are a huge variety of mostly dog shit. The turtle shell, in particular, is aggressively okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is unwieldy as fuck, and so if you're trying to do specific platforming, more time...
Oh, no.
I spend more time not running with it than I do, like, actually, like, platforming with it, because it was just so awful to use.
And to worth mentioning, but the blue Koopa shell also is one of the power-ups that you can't even stock it. There's no way to stock it in the entire game. It's hard to do that for the mushrooms, but there are a few instances where you can. You absolutely can't for the blue shell.
It's not something you get from regular gameplay. It is like the bonus question mark block that goes like across the overworld. That's like really the only way you get it.
Yeah.
And it's random if you get it.
Mm-hmm.
The mini mushroom is okay-ish as well, but it's like mostly just to unlock secrets.
I would say, to be fair, I like it for the optional areas it opens up. But I mean, to actually use it to like go through levels is kind of no.
And when you have to beat a boss using it to unlock whole worlds,
yeah, that's fair. And here's the thing. So the reason why that's tough is because the mini mushroom does not give you an extra hit like most power-ups do. If you get hit while you're mini, you will die. And also, your regular jump no longer kills enemies. The only way to kill enemies or damage bosses is to do the ground pound that is in this game, where you press down. So there's an extra bit of like having to make sure you position yourself properly, because that is not the same as just jumping and landing on stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That is true. I will say there is objectively at least one mechanic that this game introduces that I think was a net positive for the franchise. Wall jumps, which were previously not in Mario games.
that's fine. That's fair. I'll take that.
I think wall jumps are
that.
fine. I think that it depends on how they're executed, how I feel about wall jumps. I do think that DS did a decent job with them, though.
I was going to say, I will say there are some people that have criticized this game specifically for being too easy because of the wall jumps, because you can just, like, if you fall in a pit, you can just, like, save yourself, potentially. But, like, yeah, I mean, I still think it's a good thing to introduce to the franchise, because, like, there were so many fucking 2D platformers that have already had wall jumps for decades. Like, look at Mega Man and Metroid. But, well, I guess it would be a decade, because this game came out in 2006 and is nearly 20 years old now.
I was going to say, the release of this game is farther away from today than it is from the launch of the Super Nintendo.
It's almost, by next year, it will be as far away... Actually, no, never mind.
It'll take a couple years, but it is almost closer to the release of the original Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it's 21 years after the original, whereas we are 18 years removed from this game. So it'll be a little bit before that happens.
It's almost literally in the middle.
Yep.
Anyway, the Mega Mushroom sucks ass. You guys already touched on what I was going to say about it. It is not a power-up. It is a dressing. It is a set dressing.
It's a win button.
And it is executed poorly, because it literally will destroy secrets.
Yep.
It will.
It is actively like you need to avoid it.
Like, if you
a lot of times.
Yeah, if you want to unlock secrets, you can't use it. Although if you want to be a small brain, destroy level set pieces, I guess this is for you. But yeah, New Super Mario Bros. DS is,
it's fine.
But it would be the foundation for better or worse, for the next several games. So let's get into those. We have new Super Mario Bros. Wii, released originally in North America on November 15th, 2009 for the Wii, and it sold over 30 million units on the Wii as well. As Jack had mentioned and as Landon had mentioned, this is one of those games where you have multiple playable characters, although in this game they are not really different. They basically all play the same.
It's worth mentioning that if you're playing single player, you can only play as Mario. You cannot choose the other characters.
Yes, and
in single player.
As you were alluding to, you can play this game with multiple players, and it is not like in other games where, like, if you could swap between, you could take turns with 2 players. No, you can actually play up to 4 players, and they will all play the level at the same time.
Bad fucking ass.
And I will say, I don't think this game does, like, level design wise,
is built for it.
Built for it.
No, but that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this game. It's not built for 4 players, and that's what makes 4-player multiplayer in this game chaotic as fuck.
True.
And genuinely the most fun way to experience this game.
Oh yeah. Like, you can pick up your friends and chuck them into their deaths, and I mean,
why not?
Yeah. I mean,
why the hell not?
I mean, you can also bubble, but
and you can bubble.
Yeah, you could just bubble and screw your friends over when they're doing a tricky segment. Maybe they need your help.
Oh my god!
You could just be like, "Nah, peace out."
Literally, oh my god! Shout out to a Let's Play that's older than our own channel, the Freelance Astronauts Let's Playing this game way back in like 2007 or 2008, and they were just like constantly dicking each other over. And like one level in particular where they're like stuck on for a while, and they were like this close to beating it, and one of them just bubbles right before the flagpole just to piss them off. It's beautiful. I highly recommend that Let's Play.
Yeah, no, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, definitely the game that, like, is for its genre, can instill the most friendly chaos. What was the first time you guys played this?
Christmas 2009.
Nice.
This was not a launch day game for me because admittedly my mom has a rule, or had a rule when I was a kid, where if a game came out in like the last 2 months of the year, you had to wait. Like, we had to wait until Christmas to get it, because then they wouldn't have any good ideas for Christmas presents.
Right.
So I waited until Christmas for this one. And I remember this was actually like one of the most anticipated games of the year for me, just because, I don't fucking know, it was because it was a new Mario game on the Wii, and that's badass. Now granted, this game is, if you're playing it single player, start to finish, not the most remarkable experience. It's definitely
fine.
I think overall a better game than the original New Super Mario Brothers. Like, you know, level design, level aesthetics, even though the level aesthetics aren't really that crazy. It's like a pretty standard, like, grass world, desert world, water world, ice world,
sky world, yeah,
sky world, forest world, mountain world, etc. It's like, it's not bad by any means. I think this game is really fun, actually, but I think 4-player co-op is like the optimal way to experience this game, because on its own it's not, it's fine.
Yeah,
like it's fun, but it's fine.
So my first time playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I got it as a birthday gift alongside Pokemon Heart Gold, late birthday gift in 2010. So I got it the following year. I did play this multiplayer. I don't think if I ever managed to really play with 4 full people, but I definitely played with one person pretty frequently, and I think a couple times I did get to play with 2 people. But yeah, as Jack said, it is a lot more memorable when you play with your friends, because like, it's just a chaotic game. Because again,
it's just
level design not quite built for multiplayer, so that the chaos it brings is just fun.
It's really a game that the most memorable part of the game itself is like the experience that you make with it with your friends.
Yeah. So it's not quite based on like the level design that's memorable, because like it's about the same as, like, I go back and forth between whether I like this game or the DS original a bit more. But I mean,
personally I like this one more, but like
I like the power-ups in this game. They're pretty simple. One of them might seem a little bit unnecessary, but like they all get the job done, and you can hold on to them like in Super Mario Brothers 3 and equip them so that you can go into the levels. You have returning power-ups, your three mainstays, but you've also got an ice flower, so it shoots snowballs that will freeze stuff, which can make some pretty cool gameplay out of that, emergent gameplay. You also have the propeller suit. That is one of the heavily advertised ones. Like, it's on the box. You can see like Mario's in a propeller suit, which builds off of the spin jump. It's not the same spin jump as Super Mario World, but you do like a little twirl. Well, if you have the propeller suit, you actually do a spin jump that goes upwards. So like you can kind of like fly a little bit. And if you have that propeller suit and you do the ground pound, instead of just ground pounding, you actually spin down like a drill, which is pretty fucking cool. And then also they had a penguin suit, and it basically had the same abilities. It was basically like, it's
just a better ice flower.
It's a better
honestly.
Ice flower, and it has an aspect of the blue shell from DS, but it only works in the ice levels, where if you get a running start, you'll actually just start sliding along the ice like a penguin. So it's pretty cool.
It's a lot more situational. It is a straight upgrade from the ice flower, but it's also a lot more rare.
Yeah. So it's basically like the Tanuki suit / raccoon tail from Mario 3, where like, one of them is technically better, but it's also, you're not going to find as much. So it's pretty cool though. I like the power-ups in this game. I think the levels are, like Jack said, they're fine, but you're not going to get a whole lot out of them unless you're playing them with friends. That said though, I do think that this game is still okay to play single player, but it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing crazy.
It's
not bad by any means.
But I like it. I definitely would put it under Super Mario Land 2. So it's probably like more towards the middle, but it's fine. It's pretty good. Landon, when did you first play this game, and how did you feel about this game?
I don't know, like yesterday?
You did play through it very recently, actually, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like literally this year was my first time playing it.
Oh!
We were like...
Oh yeah, that's right. You played this for the podcast.
We were like, we're going to do a 2D Mario podcast. Yay! And I was like, fine. I'll finally play it. I've owned this game for, I don't know. I think it was like 10 years or something. Close to that. Probably like 8 years I had this, a copy. I'm just chilling. And I was like, meh. And I will say, I obviously never played it multiplayer because I'm just a guy. From a single player aspect, it is fun. It's fine. It's what it is. Until you get to the special worlds, and then those are dog shit. Never play those. Don't play those. Not worth it. Not worth your time.
Oh yeah, there is a special world that has a bunch of bonus levels if you clear the worlds that they're tied to. But yeah, they're really hard.
Well, if you collect all of the star coins in each world.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. But yeah, they're really hard.
Yeah. This game, until you get to that, is fun.
Which, by the way, we didn't mention. New Super Mario Bros. DS introduced those star coins. Get used to them.
Yep.
I will say, because now I get to go back to ranting about Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo, New Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo DS, and I get to tie it into this horseshit game. Why do you make saving so fucking stupid? Why is saving so fucking stupid in a console game?
Genuine rant. Okay.
Oh, this is all genuine rants.
No, I mean, like, I'm agreeing. I'm just saying your rants are all genuine. I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying, like, a fucking nitpick that I have with the fucking new Super Mario Brothers games is that the save system is stupid.
Yeah, so let me just preface this before we get into why it's stupid. In a lot of Super Mario Brothers games, and we'll explain, usually you have in the very first ones there is no save, so you just play through it, but they're short. Super Mario World introduced a save feature where if you get to the castle levels, you beat those, you can actually save your game. And the game's fairly short, so you have usually a small enough time span between points where you'll get those checkpoints to save. And they would use something like this for probably way too long.
Way too long. They
Way
should
too
change
long.
this with the New Super Mario Brothers DS. Should
Yeah,
not have had
honestly-
the save system it has.
Honestly, yeah, you can in New Super Mario Bros. DS, you can only save after you either beat a mid-world castle, like mini castle, or the end of world castle.
Or you
so, like,
purchase something using your coins.
true.
And here's the fun part about that is that they did re-release the older Mario games, and they had a save feature that worked after every level if you wanted to in some circumstances. Like for Super Mario 2 and Super Mario 3, it's still like based on like the world or castle, but in Super Mario World for the Game Boy Advance, you can just save on any level. And they do the same for the Super Mario All-Stars version of Lost Levels. It saves at the end of every level because that game is so fucking hard. So like they had it so you could just save the game basically a lot more frequently. But like when the new Super Mario Bros. Games came out, they were like, yeah, just fucking chuck that out. Go back to the old way.
There's no reason for that.
I absolutely hate that. It's bullshit.
stupid.
It is.
And that's something I hated when I was a kid too. Like even when I was 11 and playing this game or playing New Super Mario Bros. DS for the first time, I recognized that was like, this is stupid. Why can I not just save whenever I want?
Yep. And I do agree with Landon. Considering how late these games came out, there's no excuse for it. You should just be able to save after every level. Where as long as you're on the world map, why can't you save? That makes no fucking sense.
Especially when we already had like a point of reference for like saving in the 3D games where you can just like save and quit whenever you want. I mean, obviously you can't like save mid-level, but like outside of levels you can save and just resume whenever you want. Why not do that for this as well?
Who knows?
So anyway.
I mean, maybe it was like some bullshit about authenticity or whatever, but nah.
I don't give a shit about that.
I don't either.
So moving on, the next game we got was New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the Nintendo 3DS that was released originally in North America on August 19th, 2012. It is not the only 2D Mario game to come out in 2012. We'll get there. But it did sell over roughly 13.5 million units for the system, so one of the best-selling games on the system. So the big gimmick with this game is that it's all about the gold. It's all about the coins, baby. So most of the power-ups here are returning, especially from Super Mario Brothers, new Super Mario Brothers DS. So you have the Fire Flower, you've got the Mini Mushroom, the Mega Mushroom are back. You have the Super Leaf returning, because they were doing this whole revival with the Super Leaf power-up. It was in Super Mario 3D Land that came out the year before this. And another thing that they added was like an invincibility leaf where like if you suck ass at the game, they'll eventually just let you have a super powerful version of the Super Leaf where you also just can't take damage. So that's cool. But the cool gimmicky power-up that they added was the gold flower. So it's like the Fire Flower, but you're covered in gold, and you can throw fireballs that are yellow, and they turn things into coins.
Okay.
Also, there's a block that you can like put your head in and like run, and coins pop out.
I hate it less than I hate the Mega Mushroom.
It's at least fun, and you still have your core gameplay intact.
You can engage more with the coin flower or whatever the fuck it is than the Mega Mushroom.
Yeah, that's fair. Like you actually,
yeah,
and you can unlock secrets with that.
So like from that aspect, it's fine. Is it a good power up? If they remove the Fire Flower.
Yeah, it's tacky, and it really is just kind of like them committing to a bit that's kind of cheesy, but like Landon said, it at least works.
It could be worse.
Could be worse, yeah.
It could be a lot worse. It could be like like you get it and then it turns everything on the screen into coins and then that's it.
Yeah.
So
it
at least it continues
it gives
with the gameplay.
Yeah, it gives you agency over the gameplay at least a bit, so that's interesting. But otherwise, like, this game is very conventional for 2D Mario. It is as by the numbers Mario can be outside of that gimmick with coins. Like, it's more so than New Super Mario Bros. Wii or DS before it. Do you guys remember the first time you played this game? Because I did get it at launch, regrettably.
I don't, because I've never played this game.
Really?
This is the first example of this on this list.
And you did it.
See,
and
now
you
here's
didn't
the thing.
Try to play it.
No. See, here's the thing. I remember the rollout for this game, and I remember when it was announced thinking about how stupid it was that they were planning on releasing this game and the game we're going to talk about at the same time. And especially since, like, New Super Mario Bros. Wii had just come out a few years earlier, and New Super Mario Bros. In the DS just came out a few years before that. And, like, all the trailers that I had seen of this game, it was just coins. And that was it. That was the whole fucking gimmick. And I thought, okay, this could be a cool gimmick if they decide to just make this game balls hard. Like, make it fucking stupid, impossibly hard to offset how many fucking lives you get from all of the coins. They didn't. It's just a normal New Super Mario Brothers game, but you have a shitload of coins. And
it's probably easier too. Like,
yeah. Well, no, yeah, absolutely.
Like, New Super Mario Bros. Wii had some challenge to it late in the game, and so did New Super Mario Bros. DS. I don't remember that for New Super Mario Bros. 2. I'm pretty sure World 8 was also just as much of a snooze fest as the rest of the game.
But, like, I just remember, like, when it came out and the reception, like, I was going to wait until, like, to hear what people said about it at the time to decide whether I wanted to get it or not, because even though I was, like, a huge fan of Mario, I'm like, this is just unnecessary. And, you know, I listened to what people were saying at the time, and reception was generally so I decided to skip it. And I've never had a desire to go back and play it.
Yeah. I did play this game around launch. I beat it. I don't remember getting 100% of all, like, the levels. There's not as many secrets in this game as New Super Mario Bros. DS. There isn't, like, a star world, if I remember correctly, like Super Mario Bros. Wii had. So, like, there's not as much to go back to. They did make DLC for it. And one of the DLC has retro-inspired levels, which is kind of cool. And there is also a few challenge level packs, like Jack was alluding to. It would be cool if the base game was more hard. Well, they did make some, like, impossibly hard, like, DLC levels, but, like, I didn't really find much interest in them, at least. This game's, like, it's not bad. It functions as a game, but it's like it's down near, like, Super Mario Land 1 in terms of this game is fine. It does what it was supposed to do, I guess. This is definitely like the you know, the Super Mario Brothers, the new Super Mario Brothers formula really getting stale. And, like, I know Jack mentioned that, like, there was only a few years between each of the releases, but the funny thing is like, the release gaps between DS, Wii, and 2 are much longer than the gaps from the original Mario games for the most part. And
you know what?
And they all look the same.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about it, is that, like, the original, like, run of Super Mario games in the early 90s, aside from Lost Levels, a decent amount of variety between each game. Like, you're getting a different experience with each different game. Whereas the new Super Mario Brothers games are all basically the same. Just, like, slight tweaks or slight mechanic differences, but, like, visually, gameplay-wise,
the way it controls,
they're the fucking same.
Yeah, it's just all the same.
It's the same.
Landon, how did you feel about this game? When was you first play it?
I think I got a free digital copy through Club Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that you were doing that.
Because I think that's because I don't own a physical copy of this game currently. I'm gonna kill this cat. Anyway, I don't remember a whole lot of, like, the level design and everything because I only played it the one time. But that's better than my gut reaction to whenever I hear New Super Mario Bros. DS. So I assume it's 1,000 times better than that game. I assume it's just 1,000 times better than that game, based off of that.
You guys,
Has to be.
You guys want to talk about an at least better game? We can talk about New Super Mario Bros. U, which came out originally in North America on August 19th, 2012. Oh wait, no, I'm reading the wrong way. November 18th, 2012. So that means 3 months later, same year, came out on Wii U. Sold over 5.8 million units, so almost 6 million units on the Wii U alone. It would be re-released on the Switch, though, as New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which it would be packaged together with an entry we're going to talk about immediately after this one, because they are two separate games, technically. But New Super Mario Bros. U, it reinstated the two players, or not two players, the 4-player multiplayer that you can play. They added, all those extra characters back from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. The overworld is more like Super Mario World overworld, as opposed to the Super Mario Bros. 3 style isolated worlds that a few of the last games were doing. Pretty much all 3 of them, I'm pretty sure. So it's a little different. It's a little more ambitious. It's got a decent variety of power-ups. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. It's been a while. I know that the squirrel power up, the acorn, super acorn or whatever, that is basically your replacement of like the propeller suit. You have like a way of flying kind of similar to the cape from Mario World. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, let's just jump right in though. The first time that you played New Super Mario Bros. U.
It was later on, actually. This was another one I didn't play right away because, well, I didn't have a Wii U when it came out because this was pretty much the only launch title for the Wii U that was worth a shit. And I'm just like, it's just another new Super Mario Brothers game. I don't need that right now. Eventually I did play it. I want to say, Landon, when did Nintendo do their, because I remember getting it from Club Nintendo. When did they do their free games? They did that a few different times, but I want to say it was 2014.
I want to say 2014 was one of the years. Yeah,
it was around then. I will say this is the most polished new Super Mario Brothers game, by a wide margin. It looks the nicest, it controls the best, it has the widest variety of visuals going on. It's still pretty basic world aesthetics, like grass, desert, water, ice,
yeah,
etc.
It does add some more detail.
I was gonna say they do a little bit more with the visuals to make each world, to make each level stand out a bit more. And I feel like I remember individual levels from this game more than any other new Super Mario Brothers game. That might just be me, but I don't know. I mean, overall, it doesn't really do anything new aside from it adds 5-player, where if you have one person on the gamepad, they can just dick over everyone else, and that is a blast. But honestly, it doesn't, the funny factor to it doesn't last as long as just regular 4-player co-op, in my opinion. But this is good. This is a good game. I'm not trying to shit on this game too much. I would say it's better than fine, but there's also 3 new Super Mario Brothers games that came before this, including one that came out literally months before this one. And so it's easy to say that it's just another new Super Mario Brothers game, because it is. But at the same time, if you step back and just kind of view all of them individually, in a vacuum, I think this is the best one easily.
So, I did not actually get to play this very long when it was on the Wii U. I did play I think a world or two at most with a friend on their Wii U, but I never got the game, or at least I didn't get far into the game myself on the Wii U. I don't think I remember owning it. I might have, but I didn't play a whole lot of it. I played it through for the first time when it was re-released on the Switch. And I did play multiplayer for it. My thing with New Super Mario Bros. U, and it's probably the only major thing I have to complain about it, is that the levels are definitely more built for having multiple players. And that's a good thing if you play with multiple players. But if you play by yourself, the levels feel a bit too big and a bit too empty. But otherwise, like the level design isn't bad. Like the level design is, as Jack said, you're gonna remember some of the levels more here in this game than in any of the previous ones. So like, while the levels do suffer a little if you're playing single player, you're still playing a game that's arguably marginally better than the 3 previous entries overall. I did like the levels on average more than 2, and probably about the same as Wii and DS. It's really kind of hard. Like, they all really just blend together for me. But the variety of power-ups, though, in this game is pretty strong. So they did not bring back the Mega Mushroom in this game because this is a multiplayer game, but they did keep the Mini Mushroom, so they do have some like interesting little pieces here and there. Now, unlike in New Super Mario Bros. DS, it's not required for like any major secrets, but you can sometimes get star coins that way. But you do have the Super Acorn I did mention, and they did bring back like the power-ups from Wii. So you have the Ice Flower, you've got the Penguin Suit, you've got the Propeller Suit, and they do add a P Acorn, so it's kind of like the P-Wing counterpart in this game. And there is like there is a nice variety of power-ups in this game. Plus with the levels, they're pretty solid. I like it. It's nothing like fancy, it's nothing too crazy, but like I did end up beating this game start to finish. I didn't go into the bonus levels though afterwards and like beat all of them. I tried to, but me and my ex-girlfriend at the time, when we played it, we tried to play it, but like we could not do it. So like some of those levels in the bonus world are just really hard. But I mean, I still think it was better than the experience I had playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So it's pretty good.
I will say, I did say I think this is the best one. I think Wii is still my favorite, though. I think I've had like out of all of the new Super Mario Brothers games, New Super Mario Brothers Wii is the one that I think I had the most fun with, just because it was the first game to introduce like 4-player multiplayer, and like New Super Mario Bros. U does have that as well. But admittedly, I'm slightly biased because I have played Wii with 4 players before. And I've only ever played New Super Mario Bros. U by myself. So it kind of sways me a little. But just based on personal experience, Wii is my favorite, but U is more or less objectively the best one.
Yeah, I would probably agree. I would say, for me, it's like New Super Mario Bros. Wii is probably my favorite just because of the experiences that I had. And that's kind of like how I like Sonic 2 the most out of like the Genesis titles. But I would probably still agree that Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the best one of those. But I don't actually like it as much. So
I get what you mean.
It's kind of like that. But how do you feel about New Super Mario Bros. U, Landon? I think I remember you playing this quite a bit back on your Wii U.
Yeah, so this was the second New Super Mario Bros. Game I actually played. So I come from the place of the original DS.
You weren't burnt out like most people were.
No, because I didn't play the other two, and so I didn't think about like that. That wasn't just a thing. It was like, cool, a game for the Wii U for me to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely loved this game. I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed the levels. I did I 100%ed the base game, and New Luigi U as like a by myself, including the not by myself asterisk. Ashlyn, famous character on the Gaming Stooges.
Famous guest star on the Gaming Stooges, Ashlyn Cohen.
Yeah. She, during I think some of the some of the worlds, she used the gamepad to create platforms and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Not to hurt me, but to help. See, you can also play the gamepad to help people, Jack.
You can, but most people don't use it that way.
Most people are smelly too. They have a stench. So
that is true.
Yeah. Do those correlate? I don't know. But
Yes.
Now,
Jack says
I
yes.
think so.
oh yeah, actually, go. I was gonna say, what else did you want to say about the base New Super Mario Brothers U? Because I'm actually gonna have you start us off when we get into our next entry.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say I really enjoyed this one because it like, I don't know, it like, I just gravitated towards it. I, like you had said, I wasn't burnt out on like the new aspect of the series, the aesthetic and everything. So like, I was just like, hell yeah, Mario. And I generally love the level design and everything, and I just had a lot of fun with it.
And it is the first HD Super Mario game.
HD.
So it
true.
does have that. I think that adds to like the high level of detail that it had. So like, even though it was the new Super Mario Brothers style, it at least kind of looked quite a lot nicer because it was in the HD. So they had the ability to like make it look nicer. Now, so as like during like the year of Luigi, they had a year of Luigi.
Luigi.
As part of celebrating, they released what was originally released as DLC, but then it had its own standalone release, including a physical release, like for this standalone title. In North America, you first had it on June 20th, 2013 as DLC, and then it would come out on August 25th as a standalone title for the Wii U. We have New Super Luigi U, which actually sold 3 million copies, so it actually managed to sell about half as many copies as the base game, which is pretty impressive, to be honest. And it would be re-released on the Switch with New Super Mario Bros. U packaged together as New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. So, New Super Luigi U is quite a bit different, but I think, Landon, since you 100%ed it, I'd actually rather you kind of go into depth on what it's about and what you thought about it.
So instead of being like a really straightforward Mario game, this was a challenge pack, essentially. They remade every level from the original game, and they made it to where you had to beat the level within 120 seconds. So it was all like speed running. They made the levels a little bit shorter to compensate for this, but it was just like remade levels, and the big tagline was Mario's dead forever. It's Luigi time, baby. So they got rid of Mario. Thank God. Hated that guy. Instead,
And they added famed character Nabbit.
yeah, so Nabbit was a character from the base game who showed up and stole power-ups, and then you like do like a little level. You could go back to old levels and like chase him down and then get shit for that. They just made him a playable character to make Luigi U playable for, I don't know, infants. I'm only a baby American, so I don't know. I play the game using a Toad, probably, or Luigi. But Nabbit doesn't take damage, so that's what they did. I think it's like, if Lost Levels is supposed to be like an extension of the original Super Mario Brothers game, this is that for New Super Mario Bros. U, but
It
executed
does a better
well.
job.
Like, it's just,
I was gonna say
it's done
it's
well.
much better.
Yeah, it's like yes.
I mean, like, I think the gimmick of this game is really cool. Like, the levels are harder, and you have a 99-second timer on every level.
Was it 99 seconds?
I think so.
I would say I thought it was 100, but I mean, I didn't play a whole lot of it. I'm going to be honest.
Well,
like this, I'm leaving this discussion to you guys because I only played a few levels, to be honest.
I'm gonna go beat up a cat, so I'm gonna leave this to Jack.
Okay. Well, Um,
Don't worry about looking it up. You just talk about it and I'll look it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think as a whole, this game is really cool. Like, if you would count this as its own standalone new Super Mario Brothers title, this is a really fucking solid entry. I think, like, as a challenge pack, it does its job really well.
It is 100 seconds, by the way.
Okay, I knew it was either 99 or 100, but still, it's a short timer. It's a short timer, and it makes the game go quicker as a result. But that's not a bad thing. It just like puts you in a different mindset in terms of gameplay, because it's like you got to complete the level quickly, but you also want to search for all the star coins and all that. And you got to make sure.
Wasn't the DLC like originally like $20 too?
Oh yeah, I think it was $20 on its own, or $20 if it was DLC. $30 if you buy it standalone.
That sounds right.
Which is an insane deal, by the way.
Yeah,
like what a steal for new Luigi U.
$20 to double your game.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys want to see me beat up this cat on camera?
Yeah.
We're actually originally we were going to do this all in one episode, but we actually have a lot more to say about a lot of these games, which is, I guess, good, because that means that you guys get to hear us continue to talk about the games in another episode. So for the end of this episode, we'll just get a really quick one out of the way because it's nothing special. I put this first. It technically came out after the first game we'll talk about next time, but I'm going to put it here because it's like in between two games that are very similar. But we had Super Mario Run, which actually came out on iOS and Android. First on iOS in December of 2016, and then on Android in March of 2017. And yeah, it's Mario on your phone. I don't remember playing this game ever in my life. And I'm pretty sure that there was a period where you actually had to buy this game in order to download it. I'm pretty sure it went free to play after, but I do remember originally, I think it was like being sold for like $5 or $10, and because I remember
$10.
Yeah, because people were
US dollars.
People were making a bit of a deal over it, so
I have to update my copy. Hold on.
I've never played this game either. I don't even know what it. I mean, I know what it's like, but
it has the new Super Mario Brothers style, except you get to play it on your phone.
So, I downloaded this game when we originally, so like in December, talked about
doing
like
this
starting this podcast. Because I was like, well, where was I going? So yeah, I downloaded the game because I knew you two Chuckles would not play it, because why would you? To be fair, it's a mobile game. It is surprisingly, if you take away a lot of like the microtransaction stuff for like playing as specific characters, it's not awful. It is an auto runner, but they give it some like cool like remixes to levels to like have some fun. But the big thing is they want you to buy the full game so you can be Luigi. They say it's a limited time offer, but they offer it to me every time I open the app. So is it really that limited?
It's like when like a convenience store has like a deal on like a certain item, and like it's supposed to be a sale, but they just seem to always have the sale for that item. So it's like, is it really a sale, or is that just what you get to do?
Pretty much.
Like,
so the main like mode is called World Tour, which is basically just going through different worlds. But each like level has a separate challenge. Like it's a coin set that you go after. So like there's a red coin set, there's a purple coin set, and then it's like a green coin set. And so you try to collect all 5 coins of that color when you're doing the run, and then you're depending on how well you do, you get different rewards in the game. And they remix that level each time you're doing the coin set. So like they'll have like normal coins to follow a path, but then they like change that path when you're going through a different, like, a remix of it. Then they have like a rally, which is like a versus mode where you're going up against someone else's ghost and you're trying to get more, you're trying to do the level better and faster than the other person, so you can get more toads on your side because that unlocks something. And then there's Remix 10, which is sort of it's a remix where you're trying to do multiple challenges. And that unlocks something as well. It's like different characters and stuff. Okay. You can play more than just Mario, like default Mario in this. Like they have different characters and character skins.
I'm guessing they still play the same though. Like,
yeah, for what it is, even if you just play it free to play, it's honestly not that bad. Of like just a like auto runner. It's a well polished auto runner. Okay. I wouldn't spend money on it is my deal.
It's a service.
I mean, it's made by Nintendo, so I would assume there is some level of polish at play.
Sounds like it's a serviceable mobile game.
Yeah.
All right. So since we actually had a lot to say, we're actually going to cut the episode here as far as talking about Mario games is concerned. But if there's anything like short that we can talk about real quick, did you guys want to like say anything about like stuff you've been up to real quick?
And I mean, honestly, I think the podcast has been going long enough that I think we can just end it here. We'll talk more about it next time, I think.
Oh, all right.
I mean, unless you want. I was
gonna say I had a few things that were like a little bit like closer to like they were kind of recent. I just wanted to like just say them here rather than wait 2 weeks. So
yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I just wanted to give an update first that I ended up getting my own PlayStation Vita, which I've been doing a lot of cool stuff with that. I hacked it. Would you believe if I said I'm 85 hours into Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions now?
Yeah.
Like I've been.
When did you get this Vita?
I have been replaying Final Fantasy Tactics, and I'm already 85 hours in. I've almost beaten it. I'll probably have it beaten by next episode. Also, outside of the world of video games, I have mentioned I play Magic: The Gathering. And the format that I play actually had like the biggest shakeup that it's had since I started playing, which is pretty crazy because I've been playing this game for 7 years now, and not once did they have. So they do like a ban list update for what cards you can't use like every 3 months. Most of the time though, they don't actually ban anything. They just kind of say, yeah, the format's doing good. Here's some stuff that we might be looking at. Here's some plans we might have for the future. Okay, have a good day, guys. Go back playing your game. But, like, this update, they, like, for the first time in 3 years, they hadn't actually banned anything in 3 years. They hit, like, 4 cards, and, like, 3 of them are cards that, like, a bunch of people, like, most people use at least one of them. So there are people who are pissed right now. It's pretty funny to watch the fallout. I'm excited because it's, like, a huge shakeup for the game. I'm actually really excited to play it again. Now because I've been taking a huge break. Like I barely played in like a year plus, but like I am really excited to get back into like playing it like at least a couple times a month with my friends, because like just that big change, it's huge. So I just wanted to mention that because like it literally just happened the other day, so it was pretty topical. I just wanted to throw that in there. Did you have anything real quick you want to say, Landon, or you just...
I recently beat Opus, Echoes of Star Song, and The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure.
What's the first game you mentioned? I don't...
It's like a text-based game.
Okay. So you've been playing a few of those games because you also played Emio.
Emio, and then I started playing Frog Detective, which is essentially like in that realm.
Oh, okay.
It just plays a little bit different. So yeah, it's like Opus is like it's a game series, and like each of the games is a little bit different. They usually involve space. So this one you like actually are traveling in space. For parts of it, you're upgrading your ship as you travel from planet to planet. It's a little bit more involved than the last two Opus games. But it was a lot of fun. It's really just heavy on the narrative and like exploring the narrative of that game. But I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And then obviously Trails to Azure. I'm almost going to start into Reverie.
Nice.
I was going to start it, but then I looked at the calendar and I was like, Sparking Zero comes out.
That could
and also Zelda.
That too, but that's less of it. It's mostly like when I'm playing my PS5, I'm just going to play Sparking Zero when that comes out for a bit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Whereas the Switch, I can just take it and play whenever. Like, Switch time's different.
Switch time is whatever time you want to make it.
Switch time is toilet time, maybe. Can't do that with the PS5 because I will not buy whatever that garbage
PlayStation Portal.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah. Jack, did you want to jump in and say anything real quick since we actually did, or?
I mean,
nothing too big. Or?
I've been to some shows recently, but like I feel like I'd just be naming bands at that point, and I'm just like,
I mean, named games.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
he did name games.
Fair enough. But this is a podcast about video games, and I often feel like when I talk about the shows that I go to, it's just kind of like, oh, okay.
This is the section where we talk about not that. Hey, do you want to say something for me? Would that make you feel better?
Sure.
Can you tell the audience that we found out the genders of our twins and it's going to be girls?
Both girls?
Both girls. Yeah, so you have to tell the audience though.
You can you can name them Kale and Khalifa then. No, it's not gonna happen.
Something tells me that's not allowed.
It's not gonna happen. Darn.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting.
Yes.
It's news.
I've destroyed the family line. I've done it. I was the firstborn son of a firstborn son of a firstborn son of a firstborn son of a firstborn son.
Oh wow!
Wow!
I've done it.
You destroyed.
you've ruined it.
You destroyed the lineage.
I did it.
You've soiled it.
He's the heretic.
I soiled it.
Very fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right, that's cool.
Did you guys come up with names yet, or are you still deciding?
What? Okay, better question. What's the due date?
It's sometime in January.
Oh, okay, so it's still a bit out.
Yeah, we have a bit of time.
Okay.
No,
for some reason, I thought it was like November.
No, we have a baby shower planned in November.
She's going to be giving birth, and they're going to be like, what names do you want to give these children? And then you're going to be like, I don't know!
So when I told some friends last week when we found out, someone made the suggestion, and I tweaked it a bit. I'm thinking, this is my pitch for the emergency delivery room naming. Landon's dad's son's daughter and Landon's dad's son's daughter's sister.
I think that's worse. I think that's worse than my idea.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
So
put that on their birth. Put that on their birth
Oh
certificates.
goodness. All right.
So yeah, Jack. This is why I need you to send a list of 300 names.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get. Well, now that I know that they're both girls, that makes it slightly easier.
Harder.
Harder, but
I still want boy names. You still have to give me boy names.
Okay.
Because I don't care.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Boy or gender neutral. You can throw in some girl names too.
Android 18 and Android 21.
Just no response at all.
See, and it's not me that has to approve it, and I'm disapproving of it.
Yeah, that's
the other one.
See, that was my goal. I was like, I need to come up with names that Landon will be like, dude, what the fuck?
I think we legitimately suggested Android 18 though. During the road trip.
We did at one point.
God.
Yes.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, I would literally open up Dokkan Battle and I would like pull out the most random.
It has to be like the entire string of descriptive words and the character name too.
Yes. Yeah. So it was like the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. It was like the whole like card's name for that. It was, and she would still say no, and I don't know why.
I don't know why.
I'm baffled.
I don't know why. It's a perfect
honestly baffled.
All right. Well, if that's everything, we are actually going to split it here, and we will come back on another episode to talk about the rest of the 2D Mario games. And since we'll have time, we'll probably throw in a few extra things that we weren't originally planning. We'll talk that over privately, but we'll see you next time then. It's us. Let's go somewhere else.
Roll the outro.
Roll the outro.
Bye.
Bye. Can you believe she didn't want Super Warriors with Ultimate Power, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta? Thank you for listening to the Gaming Stooges Talks podcast. If you enjoyed us, consider subscribing to our podcast RSS feed, or follow us on youtube.com/GamingStooges and twitch.tv/GamingStooges for more gaming content. If you'd like to chat with us, join our Discord. The link can be found in the episode description. We also want to thank all of our Patreon supporters. Your continued support means a lot to us. Not already one? Please take a look at what we have to offer anyone who becomes a patron at patreon.com/GamingStooges. See you next time.